Hey everybody, today I want to talk about my Reason 11 wish list. Reason 11 is probably coming out soon, hopefully. They usually release an update every year. And there are some things about Reason that are starting to annoy me a little bit. I went online and looked up what some other people were suggesting, features that Propellerhead should really integrate, and I made a list of the ones that I resonated with personally. But I got Ableton. I got Ableton recently, and there are a bunch of things at Ableton that I don't like either. But there are also a lot of things that Ableton does super well, far better than Reason does. And I don't want to switch away from Reason because I love it. I find it super creative. I think it's got some really great rack extensions, and I'm really fast in Reason. I've got some really efficient key commands and stuff set up that you can check out in this other video that I did. But there are also some things that I really think Propellerhead needs to sort out to make Reason seem current. Reason is starting to feel less and less current in terms of its user interface and look. So what I wanted to do today is go over my Reason 11 wish list, dealing with things that I think they could improve on or update or add. A lot of it's actually to do with what's happening in the sequencer, but I've got a couple of things I'd like to happen in the rack and just some general stuff too. Okay. Let's start with the sequencer. This part here. Why do we not have collapsible groups for bus channels? So what I mean by that is I make all my drums red, for example, and now in the sequencer, in the mixer, you've got these awesome bus channels that they added once upon a time. And so I have everything, all my drums end up routed to this channel I have over here called bus drums. And I kind of use that as a master bus for my drums. I group all my drums in there. I can solo just the drums. It does what it says, it's a bus for my drums. But I find it really frustrating that I don't have the option to control that bus drums thing here. I can't just solo all of my drums. I can't minimize the whole group. So it would make a lot of sense to me if you could have a group control thing. Can we just be able to collapse the entire group within the sequencer? Because you can, if you automate this bus channel, say I want to automate the volume here, I get a track for bus drums, but I don't want a track for bus drums. I want this to be the group and all of these other ones to be subgroups in here. Basically exactly what Ableton does. Let's just do that. So that's thing number one. Someone suggested new notation tools. I don't think we need new notation tools. I really like the notation tools Reason's got, and I'm fast with them using keyboard commands and stuff as well. This is where I disagree with a lot of people. I really like the simplicity of the Reason sequencer in a lot of ways. I think in some ways the Ableton sequencer, while it's got some really awesome features, I think it's slightly too complicated. Not in a bad way, but it doesn't need, I personally don't feel like I need all of those features. When I'm using Ableton, sure, the features are great and I'll use them, but I don't miss them when I go back to using the Reason sequencer. So, more notation, tools, choices, not sure about that one. One thing that I do think is a big thing is automation curves. Can we please have automation curves, Propellerhead? Is that really too much to ask? At the moment, if we want to automate anything, I've got this automation curve for low frequency here. But let's say I wanted to automate that. I can draw like this, but there's just points and I can't curve these. It's straight lines. this is 2019. I should be able to curve these curves. So automation curves, please, Propellerhead, would be really, really good. One thing I would like on the subject of automation curves is a global minimize function for all automation curves in a track. Other DAWs deal with this in different ways. On Ableton, you hit a button and it shows the automation curves on the clip. I don't like that. I prefer being able to see the automation curves underneath the clips, separate from the clips themselves, like you can in Reason here and here and here. But if I don't want to see the automation, if I just want to see the instrument tracks, it would be super handy to be able to hit a button up here that says hide automation or something, and it just minimizes all of the channels that have automation in it. That would clear up the sequences so much. At the moment you can do this and kind of minimize those tracks, but you have to do it one at a time. So if you've got a lot of automation, that's really not practical. You can't highlight separate ones and kind of do that. No, you have to do it one at a time. So that would be cool. Okay, the biggest thing, the biggest issue I have, and this is not even a huge issue in terms of usability, but can we please resize individual lanes? At the moment, you can do this, you can make everything bigger and smaller, but cool. What happens if I want to zoom in and look at 2 different parts while everything else stays small? I want to be able to resize different note lanes just like you can in Ableton. I'd also like to be able to further minimize what I have here. This is as small as I can get it. Currently I can't see my entire track in one view. I've got to scroll down. I'd like to be able to kind of minimize it to the point where I can see just an outline of the entire track in the sequencer. Moving through these quickly, there's a bunch to get through. Track freezing. Oh, back before I upgraded my computer and had no CPU, track freezing would have been really, really helpful because I just kept kind of crashing it, essentially. I couldn't play back stuff. So being able to freeze tracks, not bounce them to audio, I know there's the feature where you can kind of right click and go bounce in place. That bounces it to audio, but then you've still got to go and manually disable. So if you do that, you still have to go manually disable all of the things for it to stop using your CPU. So being able to freeze tracks in place would be really, really good. If Reason had a sheet music editor, that would be helpful. I get that maybe, well no, I shouldn't say that people who use Reason probably aren't needing to be using sheet music, because everyone can use Reason. But just little usability tools like that would really kind of make Reason a more viable option, I think, for a lot of people who need to export to sheet music and stuff like that. So being able to export to sheet music would be super, super helpful. Similar vein to that is video support. Reason doesn't have video support. That means if I want to do anything with audio from video, I have to use Ableton. I can't do it in Reason. I want to use Reason Propellerhead, but you're not making it easy for me sometimes. So adding video support would be dope. Alright, another thing would be automatic audio crossfading options. How good would it be if say I was here editing this clip, and I'm gonna go comp editor. Say I was up here editing this clip, and cut this one. I've got this audio crossfade thing, but how good would it be if you could have options to preset audio crossfade options or whatever? So you can set it up with whatever parameters you want, and any kind of audio cut you do, it does a certain crossfade. That would be really, really handy. Also, what would be really, really handy is, because I do a lot of processing audio and chopping up audio and cutting audio this kind of thing, if I just solo these. Like that kind of stuff. I chop up a lot of audio clips like that. And what I have to do to make sure there aren't any like pops or artifacts or whatever is use the fade in and out options up here. But most of the time they end up being the same. Like sometimes I have to go more or less based on the individual clip, but most of the time they end up being the same. So if I had an option to kind of preset what my fade in and out was for an audio clip, that would save so much time when I'm doing this kind of thing, which I do a lot of. So it'll be a good time, it'll be fun. Moving right along, better notes options. Alrighty, so currently the only thing you can do in the sequencer to write a note on a clip is right click on the clip and go add label to clip. Look, I am a label. Fun. That's good. But what if you want to make overall notes about your whole track? What I actually have is I have a channel set up here called notes, and I literally use that just to draw a clip and make a note about anything that's underneath the clip. So I'll put like needs more cowbell, something like that. So then I know that everything underneath that section needs more cowbell. So I have a channel set up, the track that I purely just use for notes, but it'd be cool if there was like an actual note function in the sequencer rather than having to kind of do this hack. In the rack actually has reasonably good note-taking options if you use these Combinator things. You can like write stuff. You can write stuff. The only problem with this is like, I get that the rack is kind of, you know, modeled on actual hardware, but this is really hard to write in. There's no formatting. It's kind of gross. Why can we not just have like a legit notepad rack extension or something that we can use to take legitimate notes? Like that would be a really cool feature. I'd enjoy that. What else have we got? More color options for tracks. So I color everything the same. Like my drums are always red, my basses are always orange. I think it's a good habit to get into, but Propellerhead, this is not a lot of different color options. Can we have some more, please? Like, that'd be helpful. More color options, that'd be great. Oh, this is a fun one, right? Because I always have my drums red, I always have my basses orange. I always have my vocals pink. I always have noise, gray, like, yeah, whatever. How good would it be if when you loaded in a drum or label something drum or loaded in a drum patch on something, if it automatically color coded it red? Or if you loaded in a bass patch or labeled something bass, if it automatically color coded it orange? That would be so good. I think it would be really, really helpful. I don't know how likely this would be, but it'd be really cool if Reason had some kind of live performance option, like Ableton does, like a separate sequencer that you can use for live performance. Because at the moment, Reason doesn't really have any functionality for live performance other than just using it as like an instrument to play back sounds. That'd be cool. Live performance. That should be a thing. Better punch-in options for recording. Currently, you can have a count, like if I want to start recording here, I've got a 1 bar count in before it starts recording, but I can't punch in. Like if I'm overdubbing something, I can't have it start recording here but playing from up to here. Massive flaw, huge flaw that really limits Reason's ability to be used effectively as a recording tool, in my opinion. Need to fix that, Propellerhead. Very annoying, very annoying. Having a transparency option for clips would be kind of helpful. Like if you have like a pretty dense section or whatever, or like you're zoomed in or stuff, like sometimes it would be nice to be able to see the lines behind the clip. Like if you're lining something up, like my kind of hack is that I just put my cursor where like something needs to be. So, you know, say I wanted this transient lined up here, I can do that, you know, now that transient's lined up. But if I had this slightly transparent, I wouldn't have to use this cursor. It would make it far, far easier to line up transients and do kind of like specific placement on the grid. So a transparency option for clips would be nice. Loop region tool. This is something that I don't really like. I prefer far more control over stuff, so I'm probably more inclined to just copy and paste clips myself. But it is a really useful feature, and if Reason had it, I probably would end up using it. But that's the ability to like loop clips. So if I've got this clip here, you know, loop shaker 2, that's what it was, and I would do that, it loops the clip 4 times, right? But what if you draw in a clip here? I can't just extend it. Like these 4 here are all the same. So these are joined together. If I want more of these, I can't just hold them and do that. I have to duplicate them. Like I manually have to make more copies. It would be nice to be able to just drag them out and loop that clip, because if I want to change all of them as well, I've got to delete these, make the change, and then duplicate them again. I can't just kind of make the change in one and have the change reflected in the others. That would be a useful feature. Another thing that, this one here I've kind of come across a lot, is if you are trying to record multiple MIDI takes in a loop, you can't, because it just starts recording over and playing back the MIDI that you already recorded. If you're recording audio and it's looping, you can, like, it just overdubs in the loop section. But if you are recording MIDI, it doesn't. So it would be really, really great to have the option to record overdubs or alternative takes of MIDI if a loop is playing. That would be handy. Alright, so that's pretty much everything that I would change in the sequencer. Aside from some keyboard command stuff, which I've already talked about in a different video. I think in terms of VSTs, we just need better integration. Like, it's great that we have VSTs, and I think the way that VSTs work in Reason, I don't actually know if I have any VSTs in this. Oh yeah, I do. The way VSTs work in Reason I really like, in the sense that we've got, you know, their little things in the rack. I think that's good. But currently we don't have support for VST 3.0, I think. Which means I can't use the function that I really want to use on this EQ, which is the ability to sidechain different frequencies. That's the main reason why I bought this EQ. It's super helpful. So I can do it on Ableton, but here's my frustration. The mixer on Ableton is absolute trash compared to the one on Reason. Like, Reason's SSL mixer is amazing. I really, really like this mixer. I love having all of the EQs and stuff in the channel strip. Super helpful. Visually, it just looks better having actual knobs. Like, it's far more, like, you can see what you're doing. But, oh, and it's color coded down here. Ableton is color coded at the top. Everything's just gray. It's confusing to look at. So the mixer and Reason is flippin' awesome, but if I can't use this VST plugin, I can't EQ as well as I can in Ableton in that specific instance. That's probably the only VST issue that I have personally. I know some other people have had other issues, but yeah, VST 3 support would be super, super handy. Because at the moment I'm like, Reason, Ableton, I love Reason, so much is great about Reason, I'm super fast in Reason, but if they're not gonna fix these things, should I just move to Ableton? It's a hard one, it's a hard one. We need to update the Combinator, like seriously. Do I have any Combinators in here? Here's a Combinator. So if we look at the Combinator, there are 4 knobs, 4 buttons. If we look at any MIDI controller, we have 8 knobs, 8 buttons, and 8 faders. If the Combinator is supposed to be what we put stuff in, make like patches and sounds and whatnot, that we can set controllable parameters up here and then play live, wouldn't it make sense that we have an interface on the Combinator that reflects the typical standard design on virtually every single MIDI controller ever? I think it's time we got an updated Combinator. On the subject of Combinators, oh my gosh, this one. I've got this 4-band parallel compression preset that, mastering preset that's here. It's cool, great, whatever. Ratio. A ratio is not 1 to 42. Attack is, oh, wait, rotary 1. No, a ratio is not 43. Attack is not 64. Like, this is just giving me a MIDI value, 1 to 20. What would be really, really helpful and would make the Combinator knobs so much more useful in terms of understanding is if the number and the value actually reflected the function that the knob was being used for. So, like attack, why can't this give me the value in milliseconds of attack? Or release, the value there. Or like ratio, why can't that actually give me the ratio that I'm using? Because otherwise you kind of have to know the parameters that you've set up for the things like that, or you just have to kind of guess. And if you're not really sure what you're doing with these parameters, that's kind of annoying. So that's always been something that's really bothered me. Why these knobs don't actually reflect the type of value that they should for the parameter that you've assigned them. So in the refreshing of the Combinators, that would be a really, really cool feature. Good usability feature to add. This one here I didn't realize I was missing until I was playing with Ableton. And Ableton, oh my gosh, it's just glorious. Ableton, you want to check out its sound, so you go like sounds, you want to check out some bass, some synth bass, you click on them and it plays you what the sound sounds like. Oh my gosh, that makes selecting a sound so much easier. So if I open live and I go sounds, bass. Oh my gosh. Does that not make sampling sounds to use in your track just infinitely faster? Oh, please can we have that reason? Please, Propellerhead. I think I need to reinstall live, though it crashes every time I open it. But you see what I mean? See what I mean about the mixer on live? Like, this still looks the same. This is not an easy to see fader. The colors up there, Reason's mixer is far superior to Live's mixer, in my opinion. Alright, just some general improvements that I would love to see in Reason. The ability to double click and enter like a specific value. For example, if we're here and I want to like, put my bass bus on -10 dB. I've got to click and physically just kind of drag that down, and like I can't get -10 dB specifically, and I know you can change your mouse knob range, but mine's already very precise. I can't get -10 exactly. So that'd be cool, that'd be dope, that'd be helpful. Improved graphics. Reason graphics don't look the best, I don't think. I think the whole interface needs a refresh in terms of just like sharpness and stuff. Like I don't know. I don't know a lot about this kind of thing. I just know that when I open Ableton, it looks cleaner and sharper. So yeah, a graphical refresh would be great. I've already talked about better keyboard command options in a whole nother video. Better export options. Currently you can only export in like WAV or AIFF. Can we export in MP3 too? Like if I want to bounce down a quick demo track for something to send to someone, the process currently is bounce it down, import it into a conversions program, convert it to MP3, and then send the MP3 away. It'd be so great if we could just convert to MP3 straight from Reason on the export. Better click options. You don't really have a lot of control over what this click does. If we could change the sound or change the rhythm of the click, That'd be really cool. And even export the click track separately. That'd be great, because currently if you're trying to like make a performance track that has a click in it in like one channel or whatever, you've got to manually program a click using Redrum. If we could do it with just the click that's built into Reason, that'd be cool. We got through it. That is everything that I would like to see in Reason 11. That's like my Reason 11 wish list. I love Propellerhead, I love Reason. I've used it for many years. But there are just some things about it that are starting to feel a little outdated. And like I said, like I got Ableton recently because there are some things that I want to do, like use a Launchpad and live performance stuff. There are some things that I want to do that can only be done in Ableton. Like I can't do it in Reason. And the things like the VST3 support. So I don't want to move away from Reason because I find it so creative. I really like how the Nectar controller integrates with it. I'm really fast with it. I've got really good keyboard commands. I love Reason, but come on Propellerhead, can we please update some of these things just to kind of bring Reason into kind of, you know, the current environment. Like I think Reason can easily be a competitor with any DAW. It's super powerful, super awesome. There are just a few things that are letting it down, which would be great if we could see them changed or updated in Reason 11. I'm super excited for Reason 11. I really hope that they make some good changes. I hope I'm not disappointed with the changes. But let me know down below, comment on what you think about what I've discussed today. Like, do you agree with my Reason 11 wish list? What do you want to see in Reason 11? Do you think Reason stands up to other DAWs? Why or why not? Like this video, comment on it, send it to Propellerhead. Anyway, we'll play us out on a beat that, you know, we can't see the whole song of because I can't minimize stuff, but whatever. Catch you guys next time.